If you haven't read Concubine Walkthrough, there will be spoilers for the story in the video. I'd never heard of Concubine Walkthrough until I saw this post on Reddit. Is there anything as good as Concubine Walkthrough? Maybe I spoiled myself, but the first otome isekai I ever read was this one. I've read a bunch more since then, but nothing feels as good. The top comment says, no, you only have yourself to blame for starting with the peak. That's it, I was sold. That is high praise, and I had to see what all the hype was about. So I dove right into the story. And what I found was a masterpiece. I've never read an isekai story that was so thoroughly planned. Odd little clues in chapter 1 turned into massive, mind-bending reveals in the final chapters, making it obvious that the author knew the ending as they wrote the very first word. Y'all, we need to talk about the story. Yona is a Korean high school student who has been stuck in the world of Concubine Walkthrough for one whole day. Concubine Walkthrough is a virtual reality game where you get hooked up to a machine and your body basically goes to sleep while your brain lives in the game. Everything around you feels just like the real world. You play as the protagonist Lily, and all her troubles will feel exactly like your own. Except our main character, Yona, is not in the game as Lily. She is in the body of the villainess, Rani Seo, the imperial noble consort and the final boss of this game. Lily is innocent, she's sweet, and totally new to the cutthroat world of concubines, while Rani is the exact opposite. She's vicious, cruel, and she dominates the concubines in a reign of terror. In the game, Lily gets to beat Rani and become the Empress, while Rani gets a one-way ticket to death with 100 different death scenes queued up and ready to go. On the surface, the setup is quite basic, just like most other villainous isekai. But underneath this veneer, the author has a plan. And the first sign of that is this image in chapter 1 of a character named Sunshine. He's watching Yona with an odd, meaningful look. He knows something the viewer and the main character do not. He just quietly watches Yona run over to a pond and throw herself into the waters. Yona isn't crazy, she's doing this for a reason. Virtual reality games in Yona's world have a failsafe. They're programmed to wake you up when you have a near-death experience in order to prevent any trauma. Yona couldn't summon the game menu to wake up, so this was her last resort. But it isn't working. Yona is just sinking, which could kill her both in-game and in the real world. At this point, Sunshine leaps into the water to rescue her and kisses her to give her air. It's weird, but it works, and Yona is saved, and she now knows she's truly trapped in this game. For 2 chapters, the story draws us in with these familiar, comforting concepts, while dangling strange, cryptic clues all around us. At the end of chapter 2, Sunshine wonders, Imperial Noble Consort, do you dream of becoming a butterfly? Or does a butterfly dream of becoming you? This weird question is a reference to a famous parable, Butterfly Dream, by a Chinese philosopher, Chang-Tzu. Chang-Tzu dreams that he's a butterfly, flitting around freely, and upon waking, he starts to question whether he was a man dreaming of being a butterfly, or a butterfly now dreaming of being a man. The story knows itself and doesn't shy away from presenting its main thematic problem early on in the story. In a fake world where everything around you is engineered to feel real, where do you draw the lines of reality? In my opinion, the middle of a novel is the hardest part to write. It's really fucking complicated. And the best way to get it done is to actually know the ending of your story and then retrace your steps from there. And the author of this story has done that successfully. This whole section is full of well-planned, strategic surprises. With Yona, for example. I thought the author might take the Truck-kun route, just kill her in her past life so that she's reincarnated here and she never has to go back. But the author doesn't do that. Yona's menu screen mysteriously starts working again in chapter 5. She's transported to this weird digital space with a gigantic, creepy Rani staring back at her. This is where Yona gets her main quest. This is an order from the game master. Player is unable to log out of the game until Rani Seo is made Empress. So all Yona has to do is beat the original female lead, become Empress at the end of the game, and she can log out. She can go back to her world like nothing happened. That face, it low-key scared me. The bottom line is, we have a time limit to being in this world. Any connections or feelings Yona gets in this world are temporary. And Yona isn't the only one who can see the menu. Sunshine sees it too, despite being an NPC. So my immediate thought was, okay, Sunshine is a secret player, right? But no, he's actually an NPC, and not just any NPC. He's the all-powerful emperor at the center of the game's plot. He's just pretending to be a random courtier. And I have to say, Sunshine is one of the best characters I've enjoyed in a long time. This might be a controversial opinion because he's not very good at romance. No, he is good as a character, as himself. He is utterly baffling for the majority of the story. The way he behaves when he's just Sunshine and when he's the Emperor are completely incongruent. They don't match at all. As Sunshine, he's goofy, lovable, dorky, and as the Emperor, he's cold and cruel and full of hidden agendas. And yes, we've seen plenty of male leads that have a hidden sweet core inside a really rough exterior. But that's not what's happening here. Sunshine is plotting something really hard from the very first moment that we see him. He sees and knows more about the game than all the other characters, and his actions are the driving force behind the entire story. The central journey of Concubine Walkthrough is to get to know who this character really is. And just as I'm absorbing all this, it's a lot, I find out that Yona isn't the only player here, after all. The original female lead, Lily, is also a player from the real world, and it's a boy named Sanjay. Sanjay is the son of the man that invented Concubine Walkthrough, and his family and employees are in complete control of this game. Sanjay and Yona have the opposite quests, and once again, I'm thinking back to all the isekai I've ever read, and I think, okay, they're gonna be rivals. But these two develop one of the best friendships of the entire story. Yona becomes like an older sister to him, and it is wholesome character development. Along with Lily, another character is a player, and this one made no sense to me. It's this guy. His name is Youngjung, and he's Rani's childhood best friend. He's brooding and handsome, and he is crazy in love with Rani. But this guy has no memory of being a player at any point. He genuinely believes that he's Youngjung, a character who is madly in love with the original Rani and hates the Emperor with all his heart. I had a million questions. Why does this guy have no memories? Why are the players trapped in this world? Why is the son of the owner of the game trapped in this world? The author answered every single one of my questions in this final section. One of the greatest parts of the writing process is the creation of a problem that seems unsolvable. The plot has to truly challenge your characters and the viewers. That's what makes it interesting. And the author successfully does that here. I had no idea how Yona and Sunshine could possibly have a good life together. I mean, Yona has fallen in love with a world that technically isn't real. As a game owned completely by a corporation, this world will always be open to exploitation by the players and the devs, and that causes real pain to the characters living in it. Sunshine, for example, was originally the old, decrepit emperor, and he was changed into his new hot version with a good personality. The devs wanted to make him more marketable, but they were in such a rush to do that they didn't realize he was awake the entire time. He remembered every single moment of that happening to him. Then he goes back to his world, where no one is programmed to notice any changes done to him, and he feels completely alone. Even as the story goes forward and Sunshine falls madly in love with Yona, his existence ties him to a cruel and unchangeable fate. This world is in a constant loop, and Sunshine knows this. Over and over again, he and his people relive the same 100 days. They're trapped forever by their own creators, and their existence is miserable and feels meaningless. Understanding the depth of Sunshine is one of the greatest moments in the story, and I cannot do it justice in this video, but I do want to talk about the last piece of the ending, the final stroke of genius. So, Yona decides to stay in the game world. The love she has for Sunshine makes this world reality to her. But all our problems are still there. This world is still a constant loop, and it's completely open to exploitation by the company that runs it. But Sangjay takes care of this for us. He's the son of the man who invented Concubine Walkthrough, so he has access to the gigantic quantum computer that runs the simulation. He sneaks into it and decides to save Yona and her world once and for all. First, he reverts the game back to its starting point. So whoever died in the story is alive again. Everyone's fine now. Second, he deletes all the quests, the special items, the admin powers, and the hard limit, ending the game in 100 days. And finally, to end the exploitation of that world completely, Sangjay accelerates time within the simulation. This is brilliant, and I didn't see it coming at all. This acceleration means that every second that passes in the real world is years passing in Yona's world. Decades and millennia will pass just in a matter of minutes. Entire empires will rise and fall, civilization will expand and become technologically advanced. The simulation will run long after humanity dies and the final star takes its dying breath. Sangjay runs the simulation till it's over and then deletes all the data, giving a tearful goodbye to his sister. Honestly, I bawled at this point. I was freely crying. It was Niagara Falls on my face. I know that as the seconds turn to minutes, Yona has lived her whole life and has already died. But in the process, she got to live the life she always wanted. In their own world, as real as our own, Yona and Sunshine finally get a happily ever after. Reading something so well crafted has to be one of the most satisfying experiences of being human, straight up being alive. By no means am I saying the story is perfect, okay? The romance did fall a bit flat, but overall, the story is so powerful. You can physically feel the author's love and devotion on every single page, and you can see just how much they planned in advance to give us a rich and layered experience. And their final offering to us, this brilliant solution to an unsolvable problem, is just mwah, chef's kiss. If you want to experience the magic of this story for yourself, check it out on Tapas.